Thank you, Elijah. Happy to be here, and thanks for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. And you're the founder and CEO of this company. Can you discuss a little more about the technology that you're developing?
For sure, Elijah. I joined as the CEO of 3D Signatures in September, and in fact, it was founded by a couple of other individuals, a very well-recognized scientist, that over the course of 20 years built up an array of evidence and data to essentially identify a new class of biomarkers. And really a biomarker is a test that we're able to looking at a patient's tissue or a patient's blood sample, that tells us a whole lot about the different diseases they may have and how they're best treated. So it's an exciting area that's been built up over the last 20 or 25 years, Elijah.
Definitely. And I know one of the things you focus on is cancer, and cancer being the second most common cause of death in the United States. So can you expand on how 3D Signatures develops diagnostic tests to allow physicians to treat their patients with respect to cancer?
Certainly cancer is a major family of diseases that affects probably people you know and certainly people I know, and it's a challenge for patients and clinicians, because not only are we uncovering new and more complicated forms of cancer, but everybody's cancer is a little bit different. So one person with prostate cancer, it isn't the exact same as the next guy. And what our technology allows us to do, Elijah, is to look at the cellular level of each patient's cancer, and whether that's prostate cancer or lung cancer or a blood disorder like Hodgkin's disease or multiple myeloma. We're able to analyze down at the cellular level how likely one patient is to respond to a particular drug versus an alternative drug. So this area of diagnostics and medicine is called personalized medicine. And it's an exciting field. It's certainly evolving very quickly. But 3D Signatures has now built up 20 plus years of experience across 13 cancers. And so we have some very deep understanding of how these diseases evolve. And we're on the cusp of bringing this technology to the marketplace.
So what are some of the main cancers that 3D Signatures is focusing on?
Well, like so many companies, prostate cancer is a huge challenge, but a huge opportunity where 3D Signatures has invested heavily. The idea for 3D Signatures is we don't want to change the way prostate cancer is diagnosed with a simple PSA test, a blood test. But right now, many patients undergo very invasive biopsies, and so tissues to the prostate, injections to the prostate, and looking at small samples of tissues. That's particularly invasive, and the information that's provided isn't always particularly helpful on how that patient's prostate cancer should be managed. With prostate cancer, Elijah, it's an odd disease in that more often than not, the patient's going to live absolutely a normal and fine life with prostate cancer. They generally aren't going to die from their prostate cancer, but a hysteria gets created where patients and clinicians feel the need to overtreat that disease, and it results in people having their prostates removed and having a whole number of unnecessary biopsies. And so what 3D Signatures is doing is we're developing what's called a liquid biopsy, essentially from a blood test, being able to identify whose prostate cancer is particularly aggressive and needs more serious intervention, and whose prostate cancer can we just monitor carefully with a follow-up blood test every year or two, let's say. Beyond prostate cancer, there's a wide range of other diseases that we're investing our technology in. Those include Hodgkin's lymphoma, a rare blood disorder that affects about 10,000 people in North America each year, and multiple myeloma, a devastating disease that doesn't have a cure, but where there are a number of therapeutic advancements. And 3D Signatures is aiming to partner in that area and to help guide the appropriate treatment for patients with multiple myeloma. But as I said, there are probably about 10 or 11 other cancers And with the resources and the infrastructure, we hope to advance the treatment in all of those areas.
So what about 3D signatures makes it unique as opposed to other companies?
Absolutely, and I get asked that question every day. To distinguish what 3D Signatures does from a lot of other companies, I think it's important to make it clear we aren't trying to screen patients all around the world and find out if they have a particular disease. That is generally well managed. What we are aiming to do is to leverage our technology and make the treatment more personalized for patients who have a particular disease. We do that through combining very sophisticated and high-resolution imaging of the patient's chromosome. The chromosome is the area that holds all of our DNA. It codes for whether we're going to be tall or short or have gray hair or blue eyes. It's inside the nucleus of every cell. We've built a way to image that in very high resolution technique and combine that with a software program that we've developed that analyzes a particular region of the chromosome called a telomere. And we make a number of measurements on the telomere to find out the level of stability or how aggressive the disease is and how it's likely to respond to one drug or another. So what's proprietary about what we do, Elijah, is a combination of imaging technology with a software algorithm that analyzes these telomeres and tells us a whole lot of information very specific to that patient's disease. Well, then we try to translate that into a personalized care plan for patients.
Now, you're not only researching about, or you're not only dealing with cancer, you're also dealing with mental illness. Can you discuss this?
Absolutely. What we are realizing with 3D Signatures technology is it's essentially a platform technology that's applicable to a wide array of cancers, but we've also seen how relevant it is in Alzheimer's disease and mild cognitive impairment. Arguably, one of the largest diseases affecting more people around the world than any other. And in Alzheimer's disease, we've been able to identify patients very, very early on with a test from the inside of their cheek. So if we look at the inside of the cheek samples and take a skin cell from there, we're able to do the same analysis on the chromosomes and begin to stage people into different levels of severity for Alzheimer's disease. And we've been successful in staging people into mild cognitive impairment, a very early stage, and then similarly putting people into mild, moderate, and severe groupings of Alzheimer's disease. So a very, very powerful application of our technology, which may ultimately help select patients for clinical trials or guide patients towards the appropriate treatments once those treatments become available. There's a huge unmet need in Alzheimer's disease, and our technology is hopefully going to advance the treatment of those patients in the coming years.
Could you talk about some of the recent developments in your company and the recent news?
It's a very exciting time inside 3D Signatures, Elijah. Over the last number of months, we have become a publicly listed company on the Toronto Venture Exchange and trade under the symbol DXD. In conjunction with that, we have continued to advance the science, which is going to shape how our technology ultimately gets adopted. We have recently announced our participation in a very large prostate cancer trial, a multi-center trial all across the country, where our technology is being incorporated into every stage of the clinical trial. We're very hopeful that that'll translate into a number of different tests relevant to prostate cancer. Similarly, we are advancing our work in lung cancer and recently published a press release and a scientific poster which showed how we're able to distinguish between two very, very deadly and severe forms of lung cancer, which will ultimately hopefully guide personalized treatment of patients with that lung cancer. Currently, there's no other test able to do that. Similarly, Elijah, in Hodgkin's lymphoma, we are in the final stages of validating our technology and looking for licensing partners to begin to commercialize and make this test available all across the country. And in the other cancers we're looking at, we have a number of planned publications which we anticipate will be coming into press and available for the public over the coming months in 2017. So very exciting time. And to support all of that, we've continued to build out our leadership team within the organization and our clinical team. And so we have a number of exciting plans ahead for 2017.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jason. Before we let you go, did you want to share with the viewers how, if they're interested, they can get involved or invest in your company?
For sure. Our website is 3dsignatures.com. That's 3, the letter D, signatures.com. And we can be followed on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the symbol DXD. So encourage people to visit that. And I think you'll find the information quite fascinating as it evolves over the coming quarters.
Any other thoughts you'd like to leave with our viewers?
No, I appreciate all the support and the interest we've had in the company. And it's a pretty transformative time where we're excited about what's going to be shaping up in 2017.
Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Elijah. Have a great day.